welcome folks to the Writer's Bridge. For those of you who are here for the very first time, I'm Allison K. Williams. I have a book coming out in March called 7 Drafts, Self-Edit Like a Pro from Page to Book. And I sold that book entirely on Platform and Query. I did write an entire proposal, which I did not realize that my agent had not read until we started working on it to send it out to publishers. Ashleigh, what's your story?
Well, I'm on the opposite track of Allison. I actually quit my career as a figure skating coach and choreographer to write my book. And I did it. I wrote my memoir. Within a few months, I was signed by an agent who signed me based on my story alone, thinking that it would sell itself. And also, Cecilia, on your note, something I just kind of remembered today, one of the things that was a selling point for her was she thought I was mediagenic. Okay, so that publishers would really see the potential for, me to be on a panel or do interviews, things like that, because Allison and I both have performance experience. So being face to camera is a comfortable place for both of us. So now I'm building my platform after being signed by my agent. And actually, she was not able to sell my book in the first few months, and I wasn't happy with our communication. So this Friday, I'm actually officially out of that contract and will be restarting my agent search with an entirely different platform than I had a year ago.
Yeah. Karen asks if it's common for agents to not read a manuscript before sending it out. It's not that common, but I have at least one other editorial client who has written a beautiful proposal for her book, and the agent has not read the manuscript. She's selling it on proposal and sample chapters, even though the book is done, because the book is a nonfiction book that is a little bit self-helpy and a little bit expertise, like veterinary medicine. It is a veterinarian, and she thinks that publishers, editors will want to have input into the final shape of the book. So that's one reason why. If you're writing a straight narrative memoir, they're likely to have read the entire thing before they send it out. So last meeting was an Ask Us Anything fun time Halloween party episode. We talked about the importance of accessibility and how captioning your videos not only helps people with hearing challenges, it also helps everybody because 90% of people watch social media with their volume off. We also talked about controlling our social media time and how our social media time should not be mindless scrolling. And we need to have like a plan for, you're going to go on, you're going to comment on your key people, you're going to comment on your authors who you think are like you and you want their followers to follow you. And we also talked a little bit about comment pods, which are group messages on Instagram where we check in on each other's posts and comment on each other's posts. And we're up to 9 comment pods with about 115 people involved in them. And it's been really fun, and you'll get the link. So if you're interested in joining a comment pod, you can. I got a question this week from Ari Hanover asking, are there comment pods for Twitter? Because she's having a hard time getting engagement on Twitter. Sadly, there are not. I don't know if there is a way to do a comment pod on Twitter. You might be able to do something with lists. We'll look into it. And if anybody else has an idea, let us know. We also talked about Facebook author pages, which come up quite often. And our short story on Facebook author pages is always, it is basically useless now, and yet you need it anyway. Try to post to it like once a week, once every few days, and later on you may need it to sell some ads from. It will be much more useful to you when you actually have a book out. And today we are going to talk about reposting and sharing and quoting and being quoted. And Ashleigh is going to do a fabulous deep dive into reels, stories, and funness of video for us. And I want to remind everybody too, we cover a lot in every video. So you may want to plan to watch this video again. We always send out the replay link the very next day afterwards, and you're welcome to listen to that video as many times as you like. Ashleigh, anything you want to jump in on before I dive into best practices for reposting and quoting?
I just want to do like a little prologue here. When Allison goes into this, really think about sharing the things that you really love with your audience, because your audience not only wants to hear the stories you've written, they want to know what else you like, because then that makes them understand who you are as a whole person. They may get some ideas about other authors to follow. It's an easy way for you to show more of yourself, even though you may not want to get super personal into your life. Showing the things you love gives your audience a sneak peek.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is how sharing can really improve your audience. And I'm going to go ahead and share screen with you guys so that we get to a couple of windows that I have pulled up. So what I want to show you guys is I wrote a post for the Brevity blog a couple of weeks ago. The date here is today's date because it's when we're looking at it, but this was actually back October the 30th, October the 29th. And I wrote a post called How Will Your Memoir Sell? And it was about 4 different types of memoir and how each one sells, and how social media platform is actually only important for a couple of kinds of memoir. So on the Brevity blog, we ended up with 700 views the day of, plus it also went out to our 50,000 email subscribers, which we don't track in quite the same way. But it only got 5 comments. So 700 people got it. It only got 5 comments. And that was kind of like, it's only got 5 comments. However, not a lot of people comment on blogs these days, even a big popular blog like Brevity that has 50,000 subscribers. And over on my Facebook author page, which IFTTT posts automatically for me, everything that was on the Brevity blog goes to my author page. It just has a little new on the Brevity blog and the link. It reached 17 people and 1 person liked it. So not, the super greatest engagement. Over on Twitter, it also drives automatically from IFTTT over to Twitter, where it just does the How Will Your Memoir Sell title. I got 1 retweet, 1 quote tweet, and 3 likes. And I have 13,000 and some followers. So as you can see, that's a really incredibly small percentage. However, over on Facebook, on the memoir binder, it actually reached 1,300 people. And it got 96 likes, and it got 44 comments, and 250 people clicked through to read the original post over at the blog. So this is something where you want to bring your work to where people are comfortable seeing it, where people feel the safest about commenting and having a discussion. And that place is not necessarily a public blog. It is not necessarily your author page. Right now, groups are a really great place to share information on Facebook. And one of the things I want to stress here is that what we're sharing is stuff that is useful to the group. So if you're in the platform binders group and you post, oh, hey, I just read this really cool post about driving your Twitter traffic to Instagram, that is helpful and useful to the group. And if you post it, not just the link, but by adding, here is something that I think about this post. I think it's going to be useful for our group because it taught me a new technique I didn't know. It's also useful to quote from the post itself, especially if the post says something that's like counterintuitive or unusual, because that intrigues people to engage with it. You're going to be less successful just posting a link with no commentary. You're also going to be, dare I say, unsuccessful posting stuff that is a straight up sales pitch. I actually had an experience this week where I was an admin in 2 different groups that removed a person's posts and then removed the person because they had been repeatedly advised, please do not straight up advertise your book here. You're welcome to post when your book is published. Post, hey, I got a great review. Post, oh, hey, it just came out in paperback. But just, oh, hey, my book is on sale this week is not a great post because it's not serving the group. It's not doing anything that helps or intrigues the group. And the person wasn't even saying, oh, hey, we've been discussing this issue in this group, and I happen to have written a book that directly addresses this issue. Here is a little section of that book that might be useful, and click through if you want to know more about the book. You really want to try as much as you can to share something that is valuable to the readers who you want to attract. And a lot of times we worry about giving away the good stuff. Ashleigh, you've given away like literally hundreds of copies of your manuscript. Do you worry that these people are not going to buy the book?
No, I had over 400 beta readers, and actually I gained a lot of subscribers in the last couple of weeks, which I'll talk about more when I go into the reels. And I've sent my whole updated manuscript to a lot of them because my content really hit them in struggles they're going through in their marriage. And they said that, okay, your insight's helping me. So I said, listen, give me your email. I'll just send you my whole book. And these people are already telling their friends are following me on social media. Their friends have signed up for my newsletter. So I'm not worried in the slightest that these people will not buy my book or promote my book, or these people know that I care about them and I'm sharing part of my story with them in order to help. So the relationship building, even if they never buy it, but they tell a couple friends, is worth exponentially more to me than holding on to it until I actually have the book deal.
And if you think about it, you're not building your customer base with your platform. You're building your evangelists, your street team who are going to go out there and advocate for your book to their friends. Their ability to say to their friends, hey, I read this great book, you should read it, is 100 times more valuable than your $1.50 of royalties for selling the book immediately to them. What you're trying to do is create rabid fans. And you create fans by giving away the good stuff, by being really forthright about here is a specific thing that is valuable and I'm going to copy paste it from my book into this Facebook group because I think you guys will like it. Couple of questions from the chat. Amy asks, is it better to retweet or reply to a tweet? I sometimes do both because I will respond to the tweet, especially if I am close to the beginning of the responses in something popular. Like if I'm replying to somebody famous's tweet and I'm pretty sure that that tweet is going to get a lot of responses and I'm like, only 5 minutes after the tweet, so a lot of people are going to see me, I'll go ahead and respond right there. But then I also want people to see it in my feed. So I will also retweet it, very often copy pasting the same comment as my retweet introduction. So it's totally fine to do both. And I don't think one of them is necessarily better or worse than the other. Retweeting is slightly more work, but Twitter is also guiding people towards retweeting with comments right now. So it's possible that that will push you further up with more people seeing your stuff. Carol points out that more people comment on her blog posts on her personal Facebook page. And Shaimala, whose name I am saying out loud for the very first time, and I hope I'm not screwing it up, same thing. Even if you share from your writer page, people comment on the personal post, not the professional post. That's because people don't want to be your customer. They want to be your friend. And one of the great values of Facebook is it lets us treat our potential street team and our potential customers as our friends. And we have to actually treat them like our friends and do favors for them so that one day they will do us the favor of pitching our book to other people. I like to say 10 gives for every ask. And if they're engaging on your personal page, that's great because it means they connect with you as a person. They like you. They want to share your stuff with other people. Amy asks, would you say that having a Facebook author page should be coupled with joining groups like the binder groups? Yes, but I would join the groups as yourself, not as your page. You are, I would say 99% of the time, you are better off joining stuff on Facebook with your personal stuff and not your professional stuff. And I would also say that is true for Instagram. It is not super useful to maintain a separate author Instagram account and your personal account. It just gets to be too much to handle, Plus, your brand is you. The people want to connect with you. Stephanie also points out something really valuable, which is it's best to lurk for quite a while in a new group to get a feel for what the vibe is. Sometimes I will answer someone question and say, happy to share the link to my book if you DM me. And I think that's really, really important. You want to get a sense of the room. It's like walking into a real life physical party. You wouldn't just walk in and immediately assume that you are the funny person or you are the fabulous person or you are the most interesting person or whatever. You would take some time and notice what the room is like before starting to interact with people. And Amy also points out one thing I've learned is that giving away valuable content connects with your audience and gains their loyalty. And Buick adds, I wrote to an author to tell her I loved her book. She sent me the PDF of another book, and I've shouted about her work all over the internet. People like people who give them stuff that is valuable, and they're willing to help you out with that. Andromeda asks, how do you find the right Facebook groups, and how many are you in, Allison? I find them by joining every group I am invited to join or can get invited to join or that I hear mentioned, and then I drop out of the group if it doesn't look like it's for me. If you want to be in more groups, you should use the platform binders link that will come in tomorrow's email, and you should ask in the platform binders group, ask us to add you to more groups, and we'll add you to everything that we think you're going to be interested in, and then you can drop out of whatever you're not interested in. I would say I am active in between 5 and 10 groups a week, and I am casually engaged in another 25 to 30 groups. That said, it really does not take up that much of my time because it is mostly skim reading and liking things and occasionally throwing in a useful comment. Let me just see, where do you find a group? Okay, somebody asks what a binder is. Binder is a Facebook group for women and non-binary individuals, and there are a ton of binders in all different interest groups. So there's travel binders, there's food writing binders, there's memoir binders, there's a whole bunch of them. One of the things I want to just touch on before I turn this over to Ashleigh for Reels is that there is a really nice way to open up your Instagram feed to be able to share other people's work. And that is to use an app that reposts. There are a bunch of reposting apps on Instagram. In the follow-up email, we're going to link specifically to the one that I use and that I find easy to use. The main key with reposting is credit, credit, credit. Always make sure you credit. Most repost apps will actually add a little tag to the photo that has the original person's name on it, but you should also put in the caption, great post from so-and-so. I really liked when she said, quote, click over to so-and-so's page to read more, so that you are actively sharing their work and actively promoting them as well.
We have a question. We have a question here on that, Allison. The repost apps that we can use for Instagram, does that work for videos as well?
Yes, it does. The one I'm using does work for video as well. And then, of course, even without a repost app, you can share it to your story anytime using the paper airplane that is underneath the original post.
And I'm going to walk through that and show a couple extra elements we can add to make it more likely then that that person will reshare it on their story afterwards too. A little trick.
Ari Hanover mentioned that every so often somebody quotes her on Twitter or IG shares a book or an article. All I do is thank the person and sometimes retweet or repost. Is there anything else I should be doing? Nope. If it looks like a conversation is starting, dive into the conversation. Otherwise, thanks so much. Appreciate the share. Whatever is really great for you. So. Ashleigh, I'm going to answer some questions in the chat and chuck it over to you for Reels.
Okay, I'm going to start the share screen while you answer those questions. Is that okay with you?
That is fantastic.
Ready. So can you guys see I've got 100 likes and 14 new followers since we started this call. And this is because of the Reels, the things I'm going to show you. They have been going just a little bit bonkers. So I want to show you what I have done that has really been a bit of a launch pad over the last month. You'll see I have 11.8 thousand followers. A month ago, I had about 2,200. And I've actually posted less than I normally would have, but I'm using this feature here on Instagram where you'll see where I'm circling right here on the little play button, where I'm making these short videos. This is Instagram copying TikTok, because Instagram just copies features from other places and convinces us to use Instagram for all of it. And you'll see I'm getting a lot of views. Here we have my most recent one, which I posted a week ago, 25,000 views. Down here, we have like 344,000, my highest here, 679,000 views. Okay, I haven't promoted these. I've just used some tricks to have people engage. So there are a lot of ways people can engage. They can like it. So if we click on this one, you'll see I have 15,000 likes on this one, 227 comments. If we go up, we have 33,000 likes on this video, even though it has fewer views. I'm talking about why I chose moissanite instead of a diamond for my anniversary ring, which is a post that I did as a static post on Instagram a couple months ago, and it got a lot of leverage. And then Allison said to me, "Okay, do you realize why we're talking about like social responsibility? Because it's a conflict-free stone. Like you're really tying in a lot of things here, and that's why it was so successful." So I let that be my inspiration to make a reel about it later. Okay. There are different things that are happening when people are seeing my videos. Part of it is that I'm doing a series. Since the beginning of posting these videos, which like I said, was only about a month ago, one of my very first videos was how to keep monogamy hot, part 1. And I put part 1 right on it, even though it was my very first video. So it was an idea behind like, okay, this is going to give me the incentive to make another video about this, because I've already made this promise to, I don't know if only 2 people are going to see it or what. I've already made this promise that I'm going to provide a little bit more of this content. This is something that I write about in my book. My memoir, is about how I took doing it all to the next level when my husband and I became the world's worst attempted swingers, and how we failed so badly at our attempt in that lifestyle and recommitted to monogamy and our marriage and all sorts of reimagining of what was important. So I knew that people were interested in this. And I had talked in my stories before, which I'll show you, about just little things about trying to keep your sex life hot, like when the kids are home during quarantine and things like that. Really, really short 15, 30-second videos that people responded to with a lot of interest. So I thought, you know what, let me make part 1, maybe there'll be a part 2. I'm already at part 8 or 9. But the thing is, if somebody comes and they see how to make monogamy hot part 5, which has almost 250,000 views, they are very likely, if they found something interesting in that video, to click through to my profile and see what the heck I was talking about in parts 1 to 4. And then they'll see the other things. I talk a little bit about politics. I talk a little bit about just awareness, sort of like mental training type things that I did with my skaters when I talk about worry and overthinking. So you'll see, we'll watch one of my videos with volume. This is me about talking to my kids about like emotional intelligence, about feelings. And you'll see that I have captions for each part. And I've edited the videos so there's not much lag time before and after, which I will show you how to do on this as well. Allison, do you have anything to add to this before I put on the video?
I just want to mention that some people in the chat are saying that they do not yet have Reels as an option on their Instagram. It is rolling out regionally. I'm in the UAE. We don't have them here yet at all. Update your Instagram app and that may fix your problem, or if not, you'll probably have Reels in a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, I've found that I have good luck with video content in general, even if it is not specifically a Reel.
Thank you for that, Allison, because this is stuff we can cross-post to Twitter, to TikTok, to our Facebook page, just a 30-second video. even if it doesn't get quite the push on the algorithm that the reels are getting right now, just figuring out how to get your message that you write about out in video is a nice trick, because not everybody's going to be doing this, right? And like I said, I like face to camera videos, but we're going to show you some ways that you can do it even if you don't want to put your face to camera. Okay.
And yes, Sarah, they do show up in people's feeds. And yes, other Sarah and Lloyd, you film the video and you post it to TikTok and Instagram. And usually you can film it right inside the Reels option.
Yes. And that's what I'm going to show you. I will show you my TikTok. I've gone quite viral on TikTok. I have several videos over 1 million views, and they're these exact same videos that my 11-year-old just said, Mom, put them on TikTok too.
And I also want to just nudge one more thing before you play us this beautiful video. Is one of the things that Stephanie points out and that I think is important to recognize is you and I are both white ladies. And we are both conventionally attractive. I would even go so far as to describe you, Ashleigh, as hot. And that definitely helps boost traffic. But Elena also points out there is an overweight, hairy, gay couple with a massive following on their Reels and TikToks. So there's that. If you are able to share something about you that is true and that appeals to your audience, it will be popular regardless of how you look, and even regardless of the value of the production levels on your video.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not getting sound, but I'm getting the captions.
Okay.
Oh, sadness feels like a porcupine. That's so good.
Okay, so you did not get sound on that, correct?
We did not get sound.
Okay, so
which is yet another reason why it's really important to close caption your videos in some way.
So you'll see that it went pretty quickly. Even with sound, there's the chance that people may have had to go back and watch it again. But guess what? If they watch it again and again and again, it doesn't count towards my view count at all. But it has them spending more time on my video. That was a lot of information to get into one. So that was a little quick, but I'm sharing that one because it has nothing to do with politics or sex, which is what most of my videos have to do with. You could go and check it out after if you'd like. But that was one that gave me, comments, a lot of shares, suggestions that they would love to read a children's book on this, things like that. So there are a lot of different things that can happen with a video. People may just text it to their partner or a friend. People may comment. People may start having a disagreement or a debate, which is actually something that's happening here on one of my political videos, but even more so. So we have 381 comments on this and almost 10,000 likes. Over on TikTok, this same video has over 5,000 comments. Some people are debating with each other. I'm getting into the conversation on some of them. If there's name calling or people just being completely arrogant, I just block them immediately. On TikTok, when you block someone, their comment is also deleted. On Instagram, if you block someone, their comment is still on your feed. So if that is a comment you want to disappear, you have to delete that as well in a separate step.
I just wanted to add in that with the comments deleting, remember that you do not owe anybody a platform. It is your space. And if you want to block somebody or delete somebody or remove their comment, you have no obligation to the strangers on Instagram, just like you have no obligation to Aunt Betty, who turns out to be racist on Facebook. You are allowed to block them. You are allowed to remove their comments, and you are not infringing on anyone or censoring anyone. You're making your space a nice place to be.
Absolutely. And this video right here, this is how I talk to my kids about politics too, is about abortion and about reproductive rights. And quite remarkably, the trolls have not come for this. The trolls have come more often for this before you get a divorce part 3, when I'm saying how I had a sweet talker. I had a man I was interested in who was texting me, who was telling me all the things I wanted to hear. And that's actually what people jumped on and were quite insulting to me. So it's just, you just never really know. Whereas in this other one, there's been some actual productive conversation, and even people looking up some research that they hadn't looked up before. So whether or not you get political on your platform is completely your choice. I did lose a lot of followers this day. I lost about 150 and I gained 2,000. So it's just like a clarifying of my audience, because I would rather clarify now than when my book is out and people say, oh, wait, whoa, I didn't know these were her views, 1 star. Let's just get those people like on their way following someone else sooner.
And that's really important, because someone was asking earlier about putting politics on your social media. Remember that removing the audience who are not your people is just as important as attracting the people who are your people. You're not trying to appeal to everybody. You're trying to appeal to the people who are going to love you.
Which, if you're being real, not everyone can love you. And this is a very hard thing for me. I grew up in figure skating, where literally it was my job to be perfect enough for everyone to love me every day on the ice. So it has taken some stretching emotionally in order to get to this place where I can lose 150 followers in a day. And I'm like, that is such a good thing. So if you do not have the Reels feature, just put this in the back of your mind, okay? You can always videotape through your camera feature on your phone. Videotape, I'm saying like we're gonna put this in a VCR. Okay, so.
Betamax.
So there's a plus button at the very top of your screen here on your feed, okay? So you press that, and then you have options down here: post, story, story highlight, IGTV, or reel. So we're going to hit reel, and then we have an option here for length, 15. Hopefully you have this option here, and you can tap on it and it will become 30 seconds. This is the longest that we can do. Okay, I'll just go like this so you can see. This is the longest that we can do for a reel, okay? Then we can record just by pressing this button in the middle. Do you see on the top left-hand corner how it's making a video? That is my first clip. That is my first clip of the reel. I can go back to it by looking, see this arrow down here right beside the record button? And then I can look at that video. Allison, are you getting the audio of that too, or just the video?
We are not getting any audio from your phone.
Good. Okay, I'm so glad, because then it's like double speaking. Okay, you can edit here by sliding your finger for how much you want. I edit every single clip that I do because there's a little bit of lag time at the beginning and a little bit of lag time at the end. And I find that people keep watching when it's me talking and then I do another angle, me talking, like I'm just tightening it up a little bit. And plus, we don't have a lot of time to work with. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to say, oh, we're going to record over here my calendars that I have not updated. Okay. You know, here I am, like stuck at the beginning of pandemic here with these calendars. Okay. And then there, and you can do whatever you want to do, as many clips as you want. Like I said, going back, and now you will see 2 clips at the bottom. You can click on the first clip at the bottom, or you can click on the second. I don't think you guys are getting my live screen sharing now, are you? Yes, you are. Yeah, okay, it's there now. You can click on either one at the bottom. You can even delete by pressing on the garbage can to just take it out. The only thing is you cannot change the order of your clips. So get a pretty clear idea of what you want to say in your video. I do not write it out. I don't script my videos, but part of that reason is because I am usually making videos that are based on something I have already talked about. in a story or something I've already written about in a blog post, in an essay, or in a chapter in my book. So most of these things are things like ideas I've already examined pretty extensively, and I've talked to people in book club discussions and things like that about. So when we are done with whatever videos you want to put in, you press the arrow to the right, and then you can add captions. Okay, so if you again, you go to the A at the top, and then I usually press the little microphone at the bottom and then just dictate my caption. Here I am with calendars that need to be updated. That's boring. I would not really actually say that, but oh, there we go. Then I click at the top and I change the color that I want. I usually put a background so it's more, and that's just by clicking right at the top here and clicking the colors here to see what you want. And then I hit done, and then I can move it to where I want on the screen. And also I can move it to where I want on the video. Like if I only wanted it at the middle part of the video, it would disappear at the end of that line. Okay, if you press the arrow to the right, you go here, you could hit save as draft. In your drafts, and I'll show you, I have some other drafts here. These are videos that I've already posted, but just stayed saved as drafts. When we go in, and you can go back to edit, top right-hand corner. This arrow at the top, you can press this at any time to save it to your camera roll.
And that's true when you're making Instagram stories as well. And very often, if I need to make a pretty picture with some text, I will make it in Instagram stories and then download it to my camera, and I don't have to post it to the story itself if I have another destination I want. Julie asks in chat, is it better to always take your reels vertically rather than horizontally?
Yes, because Instagram displays them vertically. Instagram has just straight up copied TikTok with this, and TikTok's feature is that they display everything. I'll take you into my TikTok. They display everything vertically. Okay, so Instagram has just copied TikTok in that way.
Yeah, Reels are Instagram's answer to TikTok to try and attract more audience back over to Instagram.
Here is a trick. If you record something on if you have an iPhone and you record something vertically with your camera and then want to put it into iMovie right on your phone to edit it, you can turn the video to the side. Okay, I'm just going to show you very quickly how to do that here. If we have here's a video that I just took, right? I'm going to go to edit. And then I'm going to go to the crop feature at the bottom, click on that, and I'm going to rotate it. Okay. Then when I hit done, I can go into iMovie on my phone and edit it in iMovie, all the clips that I want to put together. It'll edit it beautifully. And then I save it into my camera roll, and then I just rotate it so it's upright. Because if you put something that's taken in portrait mode into iMovie without turning it, it will crop it on the top and bottom. And when you export it out, you will no longer have a top and bottom. So quite possibly your really great captions that you put in are going to be gone. And then there's going to be this black space. So I prefer iMovie to edit because that's what I am comfortable with.
I want to recommend another app. I use an app called CutStory that I find to be easier than iMovie and that is specifically designed to export to social media. CutStory, when you use it, it will trim a video into 15-second bumps for your Instagram story, or it will trim it to exactly 1 minute for your Instagram feed. You can also change the orientation in CutStory, and it's a place where you can add captions as well. And we'll send you guys a link to CutStory. Amy asks, can any of this reel editing be done on a laptop? And Kima wants to know, do you do your captions in iMovie, or do you do your captions when you take it back to Instagram?
I do all of my filming, editing, and captioning within Instagram Reels.
I think it would be really challenging to do it on a laptop because most laptops are not designed to edit in portrait.
Yes. I went to Kristen Bear's Instagram here on purpose because I want to show a way that we can share, and she has a book that came out today. So I do all of my editing right within Instagram Reels because one of the things is I don't want my videos to look too produced. I want them to be casual enough that people just feel like it was through my stories that I started growing my Instagram following because I used to have hair that was like 16 inches longer than this. And I started just trimming it every day in my ugly bathroom on Instagram stories while I was just talking to people. And so every day people were tuning in to see how much more hair this crazy woman was going to cut off just on live video. So my audience likes me to just be, they like when seems like I'm just chatting with them. So I didn't want a high production quality to it. And I also don't want it to take my entire day to make a 30-second video.
And Ashleigh, on that, Marisa asks, you film it in Reels, take the video out of Reels to edit, then put it back in Reels. Why not just upload something to Reels?
Oh, I don't actually take it out of Reels and edit it. The flip I was showing you was if you are recording right from your camera on your iPhone or whatever, and then you want to put it into iMovie and edit it together because you don't have the Reels feature yet, then that's a way to do it.
Okay, so this is optional. Editing is easy enough in Reels that you don't have to go into iMovie or anything else. You can just do it all right in Reels.
I do it right in Reels, and then I save it to my camera roll and put that exact video on TikTok. I don't use TikTok captioning. I don't know how to edit anything on TikTok yet, although I have a tween and a teen downstairs who would like to show me.
And we'll send you guys the link to an app called CutStory that I find to be easier than iMovie and that will also work on your Android. And yes, Yolande, you can use old videos as well as brand new filmed videos.
Such a good example. Rosalie just used an old video of her son, Hunter, something that she had posted before, and posted it as a reel that now has 311,000 views, and she had fewer than 1,200 followers when she posted this video a few days ago. But it really is, Reels are a way to get eyes on your material from people who did not follow you before, because Instagram just pumps it out and people just watch Reels like for entertainment, kind of just swiping through different ones. And then if they click through to your profile, then they'll see what you're about and may follow. Here is
Ashleigh,
a way.
do you want to tell us anything else about Reels before we pop into breakout rooms for a moment?
I want to show how to share something very quickly on Instagram stories.
Brilliant.
So Kristen here, her book is out today. So I already pre-ordered Kristen's book. Let's see, okay. This is a post from a book reviewer, but let's just pretend that Kristen had posted this herself, okay? I think I may have already done something like this when I pre-ordered, but it was a while ago. I would hit the paper airplane, tap the paper airplane right underneath here. This is what I do when anyone I know or anyone I like has a new book coming out. I will go here. I will click add post to my story, and then I will use the little sticker at the top, and I will tag the writer I will, oh, and if you tap the picture, the tag actually goes underneath, but it still tags them and then they can share it easily to their story. I will tag my local indie bookstore because that's who I'm going to buy it from. Doylestown Bookshop is who I use. Okay, and then I will put a funny sticker. I keep just tapping the same thing, that sticker up at the top, and I'll go here and I'll go excited and I'll search, oh, sure, this one. And then I will put, so all of this, these are several steps, but I want to tell you something. When I do this, and if I tag the publisher too, probably all of those people will reshare this to their story, because it's going to be like making an extra special piece of content out of something that was already made. Then I'll put the caption, "Can't wait for this book, just pre-ordered from Doylestown Bookshop."
And this ties into exactly the same way that you might share something on Facebook. Ashleigh is reposting somebody else's important content that they care about getting out there. She's including the link to them to credit them. She's incorporating another business that also has an interest in promoting this piece of content. And she's making it a little bit special by adding her own commentary, whether that's the little kid being all excited or a quote about, gosh, I can't wait to buy this book. So reshare something powerful and lovely and add your own take to it as well. We're going to take a quick moment and take 5 minutes in some breakout rooms, which is always a favorite thing that people really like to do. You're just going to have 5 minutes to meet the other people in your room and get their social information as well, maybe talk about what you're writing. And if you don't go into the breakout room, that's okay too. You can stay right in here with us. But don't stay in here just because you feel like you don't look great today or because you're worried about talking to people. Everyone is really nice in the breakout rooms, and it's a really positive and powerful experience to meet the other writers. So how are you guys doing? Hey, Isabel, I love that top on you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi. This is a really interesting, and Ashleigh, I've been watching your videos a lot, and it really strikes me the style that you use to record them, like that intimacy and the kind of the playfulness, even when you're talking about serious things. And is that something that you deliberately practiced and tested out, or was it just what came naturally?
Both. So I coached adolescent girls for 23 years. So getting right to the point with a bit of humor to keep their interest was my MO. So that's what it was. It was having a live audience of 60 teenagers in front of me every day for 2 decades, kind of tweaking, okay, what do I need to do so that the majority of them understand pretty much what I'm saying with as few words as possible, and are not going to start like snoozing on me.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good thing for like all social media in general. And I would even say also for your memoir, be yourself. Be the person who you are used to being and who you enjoy being, and the person that you want to share with the world. You know, we don't have to create like a brand. We can just be the person that we are.
Yeah. And so everybody else is going to have something different. Like Stephanie Weaver does a good job with reels, not a lot of face to camera, but funny things in her kitchen. Like when she was talking about the, can you eat a porch pumpkin? I was like, wait, what? And then she showed all the steps for like taking a pumpkin off the porch and putting it in the oven and what temperature, like she took us through like a little cooking tutorial, and then what you could do with the cooked pumpkin after to freeze it or puree. And I shared that with so many friends, and wanted to go steal my neighbor's pumpkins, you know? And it was just like, humor really does help in a 30-second video, but it can be accomplished in different ways, and it doesn't have to be like stand up.
Yeah. And I know too that people think, oh, well, yeah, but Ashleigh, you're beautiful and interesting. And oh, Allison, you're funny and really direct. But our way of doing it doesn't have to be your way of doing it. And what you do is also valuable and beautiful and important.
Well, and I'm struck by what really catches my attention is authenticity. So it really isn't, you get kind of bored if people look a certain way or act a certain way. If it feels staged, you don't want to watch it. So no matter really how somebody looks, if it's inauthentic, you don't want to watch it.
Same. Instagram influencers are the most boring people in the world to me. So if I'm going to build a platform on Instagram or TikTok, I don't want to be boring and perfect. And honestly, the stories that keep people watching and have the most views are when I'm in on my stories, like in the bathroom in the morning and I'm not wearing any makeup and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Like, because I'm wearing makeup now. Most of the videos that I post on my feed, I will be like I said, I grew up in figure skating. This is like almost my default like appearance. But it's those more intimate moments that really, pull people in and then people will respond or DM back for those kinds of things because they feel like Allison said, we're not here to create customers, we're here to create friends and relationships. And it really is, I do find that intimacy on Instagram is the easiest place to foster it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People are coming back from breakout rooms. So welcome back to the main room, guys. We talked a little bit about personal intimacy in the main room while you guys were in breakout rooms, but that will show up in the replay link. So you'll be able to catch what we saw. Hi, Pet Minnie. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as our people come back from breakout rooms, I just wanted to address like one more really interesting question that kind of is that authenticity thing, where someone was asking earlier, like, what is the value of this more ephemeral content like Instagram stories? What is the value of having something that is only around for, 24 hours? And some of that is the level of personal intimacy. It's easier for me to talk about something that's like super personal or that's like not very well produced, or maybe my hair doesn't look great today, or I'm not in a very good environment, or the lighting is terrible. And it's like, it doesn't matter because I can just be myself and talk. And in 24 hours, it will be gone. It is not going to come back and haunt me later, if I ever run for public office or something like that. Ashleigh, what do you think about that?
I think that just like we are so curious when we are really fans of a writer to see like the behind the scenes in their life, we have to assume that some people, even if it's just one, maybe it's two, have that same curiosity about us because of something we have shared, either in an essay, a published piece, if we have previous books. Assume that they have at least a little curiosity. I live in Pennsylvania. This past week has been really stressful for me. So I would post in my stories how I wasn't like, don't let it come down to Pennsylvania. Like my neighbors are not going to come through for the world in this election, right? And then I, just showing little bits, like little jokey things about being stressed. And then I showed how as soon as the election results came, Manny and I painted the front of our house, the stone. And the before and after like looks no different. And I posted a picture and I was like, okay, let's just be honest. Like we didn't really do anything except like keep ourselves, like we just needed to be outside to like de-stress from this week of living in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. So, and then people started coming back with jokes about how, oh, okay, so it took you a whole day to paint 5 stones. Like, good job, guys. Just like that back and forth, the joking, the intimacy with people who I've known a long time or people I don't know at all, just they know I can laugh at myself. And that's easier to put in an Instagram story than to make kind of a crafted, curated post that lives on my feed that kind of says the same thing.
Yeah. Reels last forever. Stories are transient. One person has pointed out that the nice thing about your stories is that people have to follow you to get them because they'll have to check in with you. Also, Marion points out you can save some of your stories to highlights, and then they'll stick around on your profile if you want to save some selected stuff. And you can go back in your archive and pull the Instagram stories that you like. One last question from Shandy. Which do you recommend focusing on, reels or stories, if your time is limited and you need to choose one? I would say right now, pick reels, because Instagram is deliberately pushing reels to as many followers as possible because it wants people to use that feature. I don't have that feature, so I use stories. Ashleigh, any last words before we wrap up?
I'm going to pull a few examples from Binders and Writers Bridge members who do not use face to camera, but who are using reels in a way that really matches their personalities, so that you guys can see the different approaches that are also really working for people.
Yeah. Our next meeting will be in 2 weeks. We are on alternate Tuesdays, always at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And next meeting, we're going to be focusing on content planning. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a whole giant strategy or an enormous calendar to have content planning be something that is useful and helps you wake up and know what to post. We're going to unmute everyone for a beautiful goodbye. And thanks, Chandy, for telling me how to correctly pronounce your name. And Stacey, I'm so glad you're here.
Bye.
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 Bye. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye. Betty.
Bye.
Thank you.
Carmel or Carmel? Carmel, right?
Caramel.
Caramel?
Carmel.
Okay, Carmel. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
Everybody.
Thanks for being
Bye,
here.
Carmel.
Everybody.
Bye,
They
everybody.
did a good job.
Awesome. I think I lost Ashleigh somewhere. Oh, no, there, Ashley's back.
Like, hi guys. I'm supposed to be in the non-breakout room with Alice.
I gotta go now.